Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the ISRC Season 10 draft. Thank you all for being here tonight, and I can't wait to see what teams get to pick and who the teams do end up picking. Before we get into it, I'm going to quickly tell you the pick order. 408 Racing will pick first, followed up by Midwest Motorsports. C4 Esports picks third, Full Send Racing picks fourth, and Diamond Motorsports picks fifth, and then the reverse order of that in the snake draft system. These drivers will compete to see who will stay into the pro circuit at the end of the season. The bottom five drivers at the end of the season will be relegated to a promotion series with drivers from the bottom series who have won to see who will stay in the series at the end of the season. This will become, if that was not clear to you, this will become much, much clearer when we get to that point. So, without further ado, 408 Racing is now on the clock.
All right.
It'll be pretty interesting to see here, Randall, who 408 Racing picks first, because when you look at the owners poll, if you don't mind bringing that up quickly, a couple of the owners picked Sean Lazier to be the first overall pick, and that was the only one consistently. The other two were Braxton Deweese and Mark Love. So it's going to be kind of an interesting one here. 408 Racing will be sporting the Toyota Camry this year, so that might eliminate some of his draft picks, but we will see who he do indeed ends up picking.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one, just because Darius himself, I think he hasn't raced a lot in this group, but I think he's a good racer. So picking for his team, if he picks up maybe some solid guys that are consistent drivers, like Mark Love, or maybe even man, I would say it's hard. I would say either like Mark Love or maybe like Sean Leisure. I think those two are probably your most consistent first picks, in the sense of like as an anchor driver. And by when I refer to anchor driver, I mean someone that runs a consistent lap the whole way through, and is really going to pull you in at the end if you need points. You're always going to count on him being in a good position at the end of the race.
And the pick is now in with the first pick in the ISRC Season 10 draft. 408 Racing selects Robbie Audi out of New Jersey.
All right, that is definitely a tough pick. He is a fast driver. Oh, 1 second. The section you had me pull up now locked up. All right. Now let's go ahead and run this real fast. Sorry, 1 second. I was running a little short on time, so I'm loading up a quick video, and we'll go ahead and slap that up there. All right, and that is going to be Robbie Audi taking a team poll of 2.75, so being the second place pick for most of the team owners out there.
Robbie Audi, he's definitely one of the more talented drivers in the field. You can definitely see it on the racetrack as he's sometimes gapping the field as he's making his way through the field. Definitely a more aggressive car out there, but it's glad to see him back in the full-time driver's seat, and hopefully he can maybe win himself a championship this year.
Yeah, he's one of those drivers that really throws out a lot. I think he races a lot with his head on his shoulders. So kind of actually similar a little bit to Braxton. These guys are pretty, I'd say, aggressive out in the field. I think Robbie's maybe a little more consistent than Braxton out in the track, but yeah, very very fast guy. Races with his head on his shoulder, or sorry, his heart on his shoulders, not his head on his shoulders. My bad. So you can kind of tell when he's really into it or when he's kind of just messing around. So we'll see how he does for the year with him. But definitely a solid pick.
So Midwest Motorsports is now on the clock.
All right, give me 1 second as this resets, because I have to. Okay. And there we go.
We're going to see, there's definitely still a lot of drivers out there to see who could take this next pick, because there's still definitely some talented drivers out there. Braxton DeWeese is still on the board, Andrew Singleton, Mark Love. These are all guys that could take that first overall pick. So it'll be interesting to see who they come up with. Midwest Motorsports is running a Ford this year, so these are one of the 2 Ford teams in the field. And honestly, if I had to make a guess, it'd probably be Sean Lazier would be their draft pick. But honestly, we'll have to wait and find out.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, really. Like I said, for me, I wouldn't pick what I would consider maybe a top running driver. I would pick someone that would be like an anchor. So that way you for sure know you're going to be throwing out some really good times. And then, pick up someone at the end that use, maybe more aggressive, someone that's, you could say like a wild child, or just someone that, is going to throw out some really fast times. He might not be as consistent on the track, but definitely, likes to pull a pole position here and there.
It looks like the pick is in with the second pick in the draft. Midwest Motorsports selects Braxton DeWeese.
That is a good choice there. Braxton
driver
running up in, let's see, the last races, pretty much second, third, second, fifth, third, fourth, first, fourth, and then third. I forgot what ISM was, but solid top 5 throughout the whole season. So definitely a solid pick to be out on the track.
And DeWeese was one of the guys who, at the end of that ISM race, was in contention for the win, ran out of gas coming on the last lap.
Yes.
And he's probably one of the most consistent drivers that you saw last season. He's definitely one that you want to watch for going for the championship this year. And I think, honestly, my money's on him to win the championship. If he can keep running those consistent results, I think he might have only had one guy outside of the top 10 that would basically, I think it was a wreck where he finished outside the top 10 other than ISM. So really, he's probably one of the best drivers in this field.
Yeah, he's a really good driver. I like him. I still, my overall pick for the next season is going to be, I want to see Mark Love get up there. He's one of those drivers that I like the way he drives, and definitely he has a lot out there. But Braxton has always been up there. He always has a running for the championship, so he's definitely one of those guys that you have to keep an eye on the whole race.
So with Braxton DeWeese off the board, that means C4 Esports is going to take the next pick in the draft. 3 minutes on the clock for them. And this is the first Chevy team that you get to see in the field. And Chevy is the other team of 2 manufacturers, other team being Diamond Motorsports. And Chevy is probably the most owned car of all of the drivers in the iRacing service. So he has a wide pool of drivers he could probably choose from here. And quite frankly, there is also a wide pool of drivers that he might want.
Yeah, so with Robbie Audi and Braxton being taken, you're all that's really left with is either, if you want like a top runner, either Sean Leisure, Andrew Singleton, Mark Love, those guys, being very consistent with their finishing times.
And the pick is now in with the third pick in the draft. C4 Esports selects Sean Lazier.
And that is a really good pick. Sean's been a solid driver out throughout the whole season.
Sean was definitely a guy who came in late. He was late through the season and put up big numbers late. So honestly, he might be another guy that's going to be in the championship for. But honestly, these first 3 picks are guys that I would say are the championship for. And probably the other one, that last spot is kind of a toss-up. I mean, Andrew Singleton could fill in that spot. Mark Love could fill in that spot.
Yeah.
So could Caden Atkins. So could Andrew Combs. So could Harry Grindle coming up out of the championship series.
Yeah.
There's a lot of drivers, probably the top 10 or so, that could fight for the championship this season. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to keep that consistent margin going throughout the season.
No, I agree with you. we've had a lot of people leave and a lot of people come in during this season. We had pretty big fields, and then I think it halved a little bit, and then some guys came back. So with this new season coming up, the guys that are lined up right now, I think are going to be all solid drivers. A couple of them we haven't seen too much on the track, like Sean Leisure and Darius, but I think they're going to put down some really good times.
Sean was one of the top drivers rating wise, I believe. Yeah, he was the number 1 overall picked by owners
with a
2.25.
That's correct.
So that's your top 3 drivers off the board right and quick. Your next 3 in line would be Andrew Singleton, Mark Love, Andrew Combs, and Harry Grindle. And actually Caden Atkins with a tie with Andrew Combs and Harry Grindle. So
that's correct.
We're getting into the ballpark range where honestly picks are just kind of thrown out there, and you can only take your best guess at who's going to be the guy picked. Full Send Racing is now on the clock. This is your other Ford team. This was one of the first teams to sign up, and wow, that was a really, really quick pick out of Full Send Racing.
You didn't even give me a second to put it up there, man.
I know. Full Send Racing selects Mark Love.
Wow, yeah. So, like I would say before, that's a really good choice.
Mark Love, he's kind of one of the more quiet drivers on the grid.
That's why I really like him out on the track. He's one of those drivers that he comes up on you, and he's there. You're talking about 1st through 5th place. He's there. He just drives solid, and even in the situations where you see him maybe taking in the backpack for a little bit, just kind of relaxing, maybe trying to avoid some accidents, he'll make his way up once he feels the time's ready. So he's definitely one of those guys that he takes his time, he drives pretty professionally, and he'll find that moment where he needs to move up and make that move.
Honestly, out on the racetrack with him, he's not overly aggressive, and I think that's what gains him the respect of a lot of drivers out there. He's not a big mouth. He doesn't really piss off all the other drivers when he's out there, so it's something that he might that plays into his advantage.
Yeah. All right, so next on the board is Diamond Motorsports. Is that correct?
Is now on the clock, 3 minutes up on the board, and they will basically get 2 picks. So the 3 minutes are going to count down. He's going to make his 1 pick, and then following that up, he's going to make his 2nd pick basically right after the other.
Now it looks like someone's going to be picking Andrew Combs over there. It says a Coca-Cola Cup Series as a team owner. Whenever I want to pick him up. Wait, who's in chat? Who's Coca-Cola Cup Series?
Coca-Cola Cup Series. That would be Jackson Steiner.
Is that Jackson? Yeah, Jackson. I never got his logos.
Yep. That's his logos are Diamond Motorsports. So
it is.
You
okay.
got it.
I do. It's just a non-transparent. Thanks, Jackson. Sorry about that.
You're all good, and quite honestly, this is once again we're still in that ballpark range of these next 4 picks can probably be thrown up into the air.
Yeah,
and
still really good drivers left to pick.
Yeah. Diamond Motorsports, this is one of probably the first teams to sign up after C4 Esports. I mean, there's a couple of guys that kind of jumped on this opportunity to say, hey, we can own this team in here, and just basically take off with it. And the pick is in with the 5th pick in the overall draft. Diamond Motorsports selects Andrew Singleton.
Yeah, and Andrew Singleton being the champion winner.
5-time champion, but he's kind of one of the people kind of don't look at him as the guy who kind of runs for the championship every week, and he's probably listening to me say this right now. Sorry, buddy, but Andrew Singleton is a guy who.
Let's look at his stats. We had a 4th place finish, 7th, no show, 4th, a 2nd, a no show, and then 8th, 3rd, 5th, and a 6th. So you're talking about top 10 almost every race. And honestly, in some races he shines, he's up there, and then there's some races where he doesn't really have the track down, but he definitely stays up in that top 10, which is a good margin to be in.
And I can think of a couple of instances. I think it was back in season 7. It was a run to the line where it was kind of the fuel saving races where he won his 4th championship, and obviously last championship, Andrew Combs getting taken out and Braxton DeWeese running out of fuel kind of put him in the championship spot. If neither of those things happen, those are 2 championships that are taken away from him. And I'm not taking anything away from him as a driver. He's absolutely talented, but as I said, he's probably not one of the people who are constantly thought of as the people contesting for wins at the front.
Yeah. Like I was honestly really surprised after because I wasn't paying attention to the finishes, like looking at the whole board, and then seeing him pop up on the contending for the championship was caught me off guard. I was expecting to see like Robbie Otti, Mark Love and stuff, and Braxton, Sean Leisure. Well, Sean doing a really good job in a lot of the races, but not being up there in points. Sorry. Yeah, no, Singleton kind of snuck in there, at least for me.
Yep, he definitely did, but hey, he won the championship. You can't take anything away from him for that.
Exactly.
And Diamond Motorsports is now on the clock again, so this...
Oh, you sent me a thing saying it's C4, then it's backward on mine. That's fine.
Oh, no, I know exactly what you're looking at here.
Okay, so then, boom, on the clock.
So we'll see who Jackson Steiner picks out of that stable. I mean, there's still... You're basically gotten to the point where you have 3 drivers who could be picked next, if you ask me, all with a 7.0 rating. So these 3 can get taken in any order, if you ask me.
Yeah.
There's still a bunch of drivers on the board, even he could surprise us for all we know and skip down. And looks like the pick is in, and the second pick in the Diamond Motorsports table is Andrew Combs.
There you go. Andrew, how do you feel about this pick?
Honestly, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I have never missed the championship 4 in the seasons that I have been running. In the one season I didn't, I was sitting on the sidelines playing the moderator role, but hey, that's a good pick, and I'm with my Sway Esports teammate Andrew Singleton. We usually work pretty well together, especially you saw during that season. So I can't wait to team up with him once again. I'm just happy I got picked. I thought for a while there that I wasn't actually going to get picked at all, looking at the field we have. So honestly, I'm quite happy.
You thought you were going to be the last kid on the dodgeball team?
Oh yeah, I thought I was going to be the last kid on the dodgeball team. Don't get me wrong here.
It happens.
Yeah.
All right. So what's next up?
Full Send Racing is back on the clock.
All right.
So
you got it. Let me adjust that a little better so it looks a little nicer.
Yeah, it looks fine in my books.
Thanks. Yeah,
because it's kind of already low.
I've been so busy.
That's 6 picks down. Some notables that haven't been drafted yet: Harry Grindle, Caden Atkins, and last year's other championship 4 driver Hunter Ellis are still all on the board.
Yeah, Hunter's another one of those drivers that I remember seeing him in a couple finishes, but top 3. I remember talking to him much. I'm like, Hunter, he's pretty much finished top 3 for the first 5 races, and then I think that's when we had the new tire model come out.
I think personally, to me, Hunter's probably the best driver in this league to have never won a race in the history, because you can go look at his finishes from last year. He didn't miss the top 5 in the first 5 races of the season, which is an absolutely phenomenal thing to do, to be that consistent overall. And you can tell that he kind of gets a little frustrated that he hasn't got that win, but I think one day he will bridge that gap and will be a winner.
It looks like it's just something to do with the fact that maybe he's having some issues with the new tire model, and that's just the case.
And it looks like Full Send Racing has telegraphed in their pick, and looks like they've jumped down the board a little bit with their second pick in the draft. I'm sorry if I butchered this name. Their second pick is Jack Bolchich. I hope I said that right.
All right, there's your pick, Jack. Taking a team poll rating of a 10.25. Jack's overall season with a couple of the races with us, finishing with a 1st, 2nd, and a 10th. So he's been up there. He's a top player.
he's definitely a talented driver, but I don't think the owners saw enough of him to give him that higher rating. But
Yeah.
there are some owners that put him higher. I think his highest rating was a 6, and that's solely because just people hadn't seen him yet.
Yeah.
And when he runs the full season, people will see him. He'll be a great driver, if you ask me. And he's probably another one of those guys that could be contesting for the championship at the end of this year.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out for this year. It's gonna be kind of crazy with all these guys. You know, like I said, some newer guys that you really don't know, but for most of the races that they've been in, they've really shined. So we'll see how it takes off. All right, and next up on the pick will be
C4 Esports is back on the clock.
All right.
Looking at the available drivers that are left, you got Caden Atkins. He's an only Ford driver. You got Harry Grindle, who's an only Toyota driver. So I can almost guess that probably Caden's going to end up at Midwest Motorsports, and 408 is going to probably pick Harry Grindle, if you asked me my opinion right now. And that leaves guys left like Mitchell Goosens, Hunter Ellis, Jimmy Gooker, and Darius Dagdar. So Mitchell Goosens was a guy who fought in the championship last season, got eliminated in the first round. Jimmy Gooker got eliminated, I believe, in the second round. Or no, Jimmy Gooker also got eliminated in the first round. So those are two playoff cars. Gawker, I'm sorry, I've always pronounced it Gooker. And
we had a very long discussion about that this weekend.
Oh, really? Okay. So, with C4, it looks like the pick is in. So C4's Esports last pick, 8th overall pick in the draft, will be Cameron Caldwell.
Oh, interesting pick. All right.
Cameron was one of the guys that are coming out of the championship series. He's one of the two drivers that was able to race his way in. And I think, personally, he's probably going to be a driver that's going to be kind of quiet like Mark Love and fight his way into the playoffs. And we really haven't seen enough of him yet in the pro circuit. We'll see how he plays out probably during the season. I mean, we got a long season this year. I believe it's 13 races. So he's got 10 races to show what he's worth in order to get himself into the playoffs. Only 6 drivers get into the playoffs this year instead of the usual 8. So 6 get in, 1 driver eliminated after each round, and then the championship 4 points reset, highest finisher wins it. So look for Cameron to be contesting for that last chase spot.
Yeah, I haven't seen really any of him. Sorry, Cameron, I do not have a video of you. The replay that I was supposed to work didn't, and wasn't able to capture a video of you driving. So I don't have any pro circuit video of you. So we'll just have to just imagine he's driving right now and around the track. All right, so
and that will put Midwest Motorsports is now back on the clock. Looking for that Ford pick. Based on the available drivers left, I think only two of them are Ford drivers, and that's Jimmy Gawker and Caden Atkins. If you ask me, Caden Atkins is the guy that probably should be picked next. He's one of the better drivers in the championship last year. Yeah. And I'm honestly surprised that he wasn't taken higher, but
well, I'll take that back.
This stuff happens
he
all
didn't
the
race
time.
too much this season. He missed 4 races.
Was still able to make the playoffs though.
Yeah,
so.
was still able to make the playoffs. Looking at he did take a first place win. That's kind of what knocked him up. But top 10 for most of his finishes, with a solid first place finish.
So we are awaiting the picks, and the drivers who are left. Let's list them out for you. I'm gonna list them out in order, probably from most likely to be picked to less likely. Harry Grindle, Caden Atkins are still on the board. Hunter Ellis is still on the board. Mitchell Goosens, Jimmy Gawker, and Darius Dadgar are all people who still need to be picked.
Yep, and the people
And
that have been
looks like the pick is in, actually.
Okay.
And getting the 9th overall pick is Jimmy Gawker. That's a big surprise coming out of that stable.
It's funny. I almost clipped a video of Jimmy jumping his Napa Auto Parts right here. I caught him cutting the infield and literally launching it like 3 feet.
Jimmy Gawker calls himself Rocket Man. He got himself a win last season at Daytona, I believe it was. So he's a guy who you probably
That's
should
correct.
watch in the super speedways. He's definitely a guy who can contest for wins, but I wouldn't say he's the best driver in the field. I'm not trying to take anything away from him in any way, shape, or form. But you don't usually see him competing at like tracks like Atlanta or Texas or the 1.5 milers where the field usually gets a little more spread out.
He's had a rough run. Looking at his finishes, you have first, 11th, 4th, 8th, 4th, 8th, 13th, and then after the new tire model, a lot of people a lot of their scores took a dump, just because that new tire model kind of like threw people for a loop. But I think with this season coming up, these guys will finally have it squared away. The short courses with the new tire model were pretty killer for a lot of guys. Just gets really loose. They want their tires to be warm, but they're not, and it's just it really plays against you.
So that will put Darius Dadgar and 408 Racing back on the clock for the last pick of the Pro Circuit draft. And I feel like we should kind of know who's the last guy to be taken here, because only one guy in the field left has the Toyota badge, and that is Harry Grindle, the guy coming out of the championship series. So my guess is look for him to get picked, unless he wants to maybe skip around and maybe see if a Toyota can be purchased from another angle.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting choice.
Mitchell Goosens, Hunter Ellis are both Chevy drivers. Caden Atkins is a Ford, and Harry Grindle is a Toyota. So all likelihood points to Harry Grindle being taken here.
Yep.
Unless he wants to pick Caden, if you ask me. And I forgot Darius Dadgar has not been taken either. I forgot to mention him. He is also a Toyota driver.
Yeah,
I forgot that.
He's also a Toyota driver. So
Yeah,
he might get picked too. The question is, do you go with Harry, who's had the championship series behind him, or do you go with Darius, who hasn't ran too much in the beginning but has thrown down a really good finish and a 15th place? So
I feel like it'd be Harry, because Harry's also raced in the Pro Circuit before, and he's won on multiple levels. He's won in the ISRC series, which was a former series that we had.
Okay.
And he's also, once again, the championship series champion of last season. He won that, and honestly, no offense to him, he wasn't the guy who I thought was going to win it last season. But hey, he came out on top, and quite honestly, I think he kind of deserves this last pick here to be teamed up with Robbie Yachty in the 408 Racing Machine.
Yeah, but he's British.
Well, you're being...
I'm just messing with you.
Oh,
no, Harry's a good guy.
You can't say that.
I can too. He can take a joke. No, Harry's a good guy to pick. But I don't know. I'm more of I like, checking the mystery box and seeing if there's a boat inside. So I'd probably go Darius just for to see what he can do. But if you're going to go to the safe side, probably it's going to be Harry.
We are still awaiting that pick. He's got 50 seconds left on the clock. I don't know if he's going to get his pick in.
Sean, what's up, man?
Oh. It looks like the pick has been submitted, and with the 10th and last pick in the ISRC Season 10 draft, 408 Racing selects, we guessed it, out of Greater Manchester, England, Harry Grindle.
The man across the pond, the myth, the legend, Harry. Also, you have picked yourself someone that enjoys anime, so enjoy those memes coming your way.
Yeah, that's kind of something we got to work on with him, but he's
Is he still allowed to run anime characters on his vehicles?
No, but see, here's the thing: we kind of gotta force it off of him.
He just tries to sneak him in there. Bumper, small little section on the mirror. You won't notice it until you zoom in. You're like, oh.
Well, all jokes aside, he is a very, very talented driver. I've had my racing with him. He's a very fun guy to race around.
Oh yeah.
And he's very quick when he wants to be. So, and honestly, every single driver that I think that was picked today, plus Caden Atkins, could all really be Championship 6 drivers. I mean, those are almost every single one of those guys could be somebody who competes for the chase.
Yeah, and looking at
honestly, they're...
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I
No,
know
I
where
was
I'm
saying,
going
looking
with
at the
that.
tracks that we have coming up, we have a Daytona, a Phoenix, a Talladega. I don't know if this is the exact lineup that I have that you've given me, or if it's just the tracks that are on schedule to go. And you're talking about we have a lot of long tracks, so we're definitely going to see some people that maybe do better on those super speedways really come to shine.
Like, yeah, I mean, if on the schedule you got obviously Daytona, Phoenix, Talladega, then you go to the 1.5 miler out of Charlotte, then you get your first road course of the season, Mid Ohio, which is a track that's never been used in this series before. But
I still got to buy that.
Then
track.
again, could also be, it's a fun track to race in, and if you look on NASCAR in real life, it is definitely a fun track to watch because it's got nice sweeping turns, it's got long straights, and it's got hairpin corners, which is the second corner on the track, which you could probably see some fun little racing at.
Yeah, and then we have Chicagoland, Pocono, Dover, which is always a blast, and then and then Iowa. So, those last two laps are going to be the last two races before we go into the championship are going to be a tough one for a lot of guys. Those short courses really make people sweat sometimes.
So that's going to conclude our pro circuit draft. I thank you all for tuning in, and honestly, I do not count anybody who was not drafted out of this season. Caden Atkins and Hunter Ellis especially, I think those guys are going to be driving with a little bit of fury, a little bit of a revenge in their hearts, trying to prove us all wrong. And honestly, we'll see who comes out victorious at the end of the season.
Yeah, and that's really what's going to happen. Anything can happen on the track. So until we get halfway in, we really can't say too much until the season gets started. So all really good picks. All right, I hope everyone has aren't you? We're going to be doing interviews. Let's.
Oh yeah, let's do some interviews while we're at it.
Let's get that going real fast.
Looks like Robbie Audi is available, Mark Love, Sean Lazier, and Andrew Singleton.
All right,
so
just bring them in one at a time. I'll let you pick who you want to go first.
We'll go with number 1 overall first.
All right, Robbie Audi, how you doing tonight?
Good, how about you?
Doing pretty good. So first pick, 408 got you. No, sorry, second pick, 408 got you.
Pick.
How do you think about? I just miswrote something. Great. How do you feel about racing for 408, and what do you think you're gonna be able to put out on there?
I'm excited. Like the Toyota. I don't really know who's the team owner, but should be excited to get to know him. I like the pick with Harry. I think he's a consistent guy, and that's what I need as a teammate. If you can't have a superstar, have a guy who's gonna finish races. So that's what I was looking for in the second pick. And season-wise goals, obviously to win a championship. Hopefully pass Singleton on the all-time wins list, and win half the races.
That'd be pretty awesome. You're getting close to that, I believe, when we started.
Yeah, I had a bunch of personal stuff I had to take care of, so I would have passed him last season, but I just didn't race.
It happens, man. Well, hopefully we have you back out here for this whole season, and you put on a good show.
Yep. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, man. Andrew, you got any questions or?
No. I just can't wait to see what he's going to do this season. I know he's pretty competitive out on track, and we can't wait to see him out there.
All right, you got it. Thanks, Robbie, and we'll put you back in the chat.
All right, who do you want to do next?
Let's bring in Sean if he's available.
On Leisure, yes, sir. My driver.
Oh.
Surprise.
Hello.
All right, you want to take it away, Andrew?
Yeah, so being his team owner, Sean, welcome to the team. What do you think of the pick?
I was expecting it, kind of. I mean, it seemed like, I don't want to inflame my ego, but it seemed as a reasonable pick with what was left.
Quite honestly, I thought the same. I mean, you didn't have enough time probably to prove yourself to be a championship driver last season, judging by you came in about halfway through the season, but I saw it in you, and I think you're going to be somebody who's probably fighting for the championship at the end of the year.
Hope so.
And then you have as a teammate Cameron Cadwell. Cameron coming up from the championship series, or sorry,
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, championship series. How do you feel about racing with him, and do you think you guys are gonna mesh well out there?
I think we are. I ran one race with him. He definitely has speed. It's just, it seems consistency is not his forte, but I feel like if he masters that time, especially with the new tire model, that's what a lot of these guys are struggling on, is the learning how to manage it with like the looseness and stuff. Because I feel like a lot of these guys are getting on throttle way too early, and then they'll spin it. But it happens.
Yeah, so we'll see how it plays out with him being up at the championship. Probably has a really good run behind him, so definitely someone that is gonna be able to stay solid behind you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, I hope you have a good season, and we'll see how everything plays out.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right. I don't think Mark would like to do an interview. He has a little bit of the flu right now, so
That's fine.
hey, get better, Mark. Do you want to pull up Singleton?
Yeah, we'll
Then you
grab
can
him.
interview me at the same time, since we're both Diamond Motorsports drivers.
You got it.
Let's see if he unmutes his mic first. There we
Oh,
go.
there we go.
What's up?
All right, so both of you guys, Diamond Motorsports, racing together. You guys have been running pretty much together for Sway Sports and stuff like that. Do you think you guys are gonna have a good run at the championship this season?
Well, I would hope so. I see no reason why we couldn't. I mean, the last few seasons, me and him were in the Final Four anyways, so I don't see any reason why we couldn't, that's for sure.
I feel like Andrew Combs driving with you is really not too much of a good mesh. Just looking at his record right now, we have a 10th place finish, a 9th place finish. Like he's definitely scraping the bottom a little bit. Do you think you're gonna have to carry him through the whole season?
No, I think his one issue is that he's a little too aggressive. I think that's his one issue. He's not a really slow driver. He's not as slow as some of these other
I'm
people.
holding back anger right now.
But no, I'm trying to compliment you at the same time. But no, I think he'll be fine.
Sorry, I had to grind you across the coals just for fun. No, I think you guys will be a good team. We'll see how it plays out with some of the guys out there. And you definitely have your work in front of you because you have some pretty good pair ups out there.
Combs, do you have anything to say?
I think I upset him, so
Yeah.
we might have to remove him from the
Yeah,
booth.
I got something to say.
Now, I did see that you were commenting about my championships, Combs. I did see that.
We're not gonna talk about
Go
that.
ahead. Go ahead.
I do have one comment. Fuck Death by Moose Media. Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I worked really hard to
I
build up my
appreciate-
enemies.
I appreciate the broadcast. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this season. I pretty much expected to be chosen here. C4, I wasn't sure what C4 was going to choose. I kind of expected Sean Leisure though, so I was kind of expecting to be either 4 or 5. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks for popping in, man, and we'll see you guys do out in the season.
Thank you.
All right. Let's go ahead and pull in for our last interviews. Who's available?
I don't think anybody's available to be quiet. Actually, wait. Hang on. I might.
Well, here we don't have
We could.
Braxton, but we can pull in Jaden, the owner of Midwest. Can we do that?
Yeah, let's pull in Jaden. Let's see what he has to say.
All right.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
Jaden, this is Boot the Copy.
Yep, I gotcha.
did you say oh hell because we're gonna pull you?
Yeah.
All right, so none of your guys are here right now, but for your picks, why'd you go with those guys, and what do you think you're gonna, you got Braxton and then Jimmy Gawker. Do you think they're gonna pair well together? What do you think is gonna happen?
I think they'll definitely pair well together. Both of them have had a strong relationship since the Daytona race in the beginning of the season. Braxton, though, has quite a bit of talent from what I've seen. I've been watching him quite a bit this season, or last season would be. And Jimmy, he's probably the best restrictor plate racer in the series. So we're trying to go for like all the wins, maybe. That'd be pretty cool just to sweep the season, but that will never happen.
Yeah, you have some tough competition out there. So
Yes, we definitely do. And this is why we're going to do some testing here and there, get these drivers up to par with them, and hopefully we'll go from there.
makes sense. Oh, looks like Darius might be typing a message. Oh, he's asking about the championship. We'll talk about that later.
Talk about that.
All right. Well,
I actually have a question. I actually have a question for you, Jaden.
All right.
So you actually, your second pick surprised me the most with Jimmy Gawker over somebody like Caden Atkins. Is the reason why you picked Jimmy because he had that relationship already with Braxton, or what was your thought process behind that?
That was one of the things. I mean, me and him have had a strong friendship for a long time. We've been friends for 10 to 11 years, probably around that now. He's a really good driver. He can be. I mean, sometimes he just drives over his head, but that's what we're going to use all the testing and practicing for, and we'll build him into a better driver.
All right. Well, I don't have any more questions. Randall, you got anything
No, that
else?
kind of makes sense. Throw him behind Braxton, kind of let him follow his lines for a little bit. Maybe Braxton can help him improve himself out there, and you guys will have a solid, aggressive pair on the track. Because looking at your picks, I think both Gawker and Braxton are pretty aggressive drivers, in the sense of they like to eat up the field, they like to push the car to its limits. So you're taking a little bit of a gamble, but I think that might pay off for you.
Yeah, I think it will too. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting this. So this was awesome.
Thank you. It was fun. It was a little rough. I've been pretty busy, so I was just cut on time for doing all the scenes and overlays. But next time it will be a lot more dramatic and much much better.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So thank you for popping in. We're going to go ahead and close out the draft. Any closing statements from you, Andrew?
Looks like he left. No,
I'm
got nothing else.
Did you have a question for him?
No, I got nothing else. I mean, just can't wait for the season to begin.
Yeah. So you guys tune in. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be hectic. We're going to have pretty much people flying off the stands, people slamming into the walls. It's probably going to be one of the most craziest, insane things you'll ever see, ever. So tune in. First race going to be at Daytona, I believe. Is that the correct lineup? Yeah, so first race Daytona, so we're definitely going to have Door Slammer out there, and it's going to be a heated one. So tune in, guys. It's going to be a blast.